folks. Thanks for joining me for easy soloing strategies. Let's get started. The point of this workshop series is to give you the tools, some of the hacks, some of the substitutions, some easier ways to visualize a fretboard. So we'll talk about some common progressions. I want to start with the blues, though. Not if I had you, but we'll go into that. And then I want to kind of ease into it with summertime, some things where you're still applying the blues stuff. Next week, we'll hit some 2-5-1 songs that requires some more thinking in modulating. Today, I want to just keep it a little bit easier. But we'll hit that too, again, Tony. So what I do, where I always usually start with all of my students is the pentatonic scale. So, that's the first thing I want to just make sure that you all have the worksheets and that you're working on the pentatonic scale. So here is A minor penta. And at this point, if you can all mute yourself, that'd be great. Just that way the emphasis will be on me. And so I'm just playing A minor. And I cannot help myself sometimes from doing this. I add in that flat 5 to the minor pentatonic, and I can't help it. My pinky just does this over here. So I might say pentatonic, but sometimes I'm adding in the blue note, just so that you know that, okay? So that's A minor. And I'm hoping you all know that box shape. This is a really sweet position to know that A minor pentatonic. Now, with that, I pass out these worksheets. This is not a pentatonic study. We could do that again for 2 hours. But I do recommend that where I'm playing guitar, I do recommend that you learn the 5 positions of it eventually, okay? But as many of you know who've studied with me in person or online, I usually say just do the first 2, A minor penta, and then the next one, C major penta. So that's important theory that you know that A minor is equivalent to C major penta. They're the same 5 notes. And you can do whatever fingering you want. I usually recommend certain things, but I like my first finger starting here. So when I visualize this, that little trick, it helps me visualize the fretboard. This is a C6-9 chord, by the way. If you're to strum each note starting on the new string, you get this chord shape. That's a C6-9. So the pentatonic scale, if you started on C, just to kind of tell you the formula, it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. The pentatonic scale, I consider it as a 6-9 scale. It's a 6-9. It has 1, 3, 5, the triad, the 2, which is the 9, and then the 6th degree. So it's a 6-9 chord. We love the 6-9 chord in bossa nova, in swing music. It's a great scale to play over a major chord. You achieve the 6 and the 9. So again, you get that 6-9 flavor. And there's a lot of fingerings. I'm not going to go through all the fingerings. Instead, I'm just going to stress here for you the importance of the pentatonic. And you probably know a lot of pentatonic licks, perhaps, if you've played, rock and roll style. But again, the most popular position is on A minor is this. And feel free to type in the comments in the chat, because this is a personalized workshop, personalized to where I'm going to address your questions. But again, now I'm going to talk about, hey, you can apply this. How do I apply this for practicing? That's the next step. Once you don't have to blaze through all 5 positions. I always say, just have one position really well and make a lot of music. So that's where I'm going to grab my iReal Pro. This might not be so obvious actually, but if you have a C blues, and now this is where I would probably pull up my worksheet that says C blues soloing ideas. But the power of the pentatonic, this is where I'm actually gonna, and it's also in the G blues, but the scale stuff will really show it in the C blues. Did you guys get that worksheet? The C blues. if you have it. I could do a screen share as well. I like seeing you guys instead of seeing the screen, but I might just, yeah, I'm just gonna talk. Stop me if you need to in the chat here, okay? So, and this is just more of a quick demonstration. We're not gonna spend all of our time on this, but the blues is a great way to use these scales. But there's a particular strategy, and again, that's kind of the emphasis, is the strategizing. Say you have a C7 chord, okay, and you know, if you're a rock and roll player, everything's gonna just be that minor pentatonic, and I kind of want to say that that's a rock and roll style approach, is on a C7 chord, where in a 12-bar blues in C, you play C minor pentatonic, or again, sneak in that flat 5, which gives you the blues scale. And then when you go to the 4 chord, F7, I'm gonna play F9. Same thing, nothing different, same concept. And then when you go to the 5 chord, G7, I'm gonna play sharp 9. Same thing. You can, that's kind of the really bluesy down home feel, is the minor pentatonic over all 3 chords. But what's nice to do, and I'm gonna just again spend just a little bit of time on this 12-bar blues. I'm gonna probably bring back my blues workshop series later, but it'll be the jazz blues. But one thing that's really nice to do is to navigate the changes by doing on the C7 chord to play C major pentatonic. And it kind of has a sweeter sound. I can't help, and I'm going to say this again, add that blue note in. Now, it's the same blue note, but now that we're thinking of it on C, instead of A minor, it's not the flat 5 anymore. That E flat note is the flat 3. So you get this on C7, you get this. And I think I have this written out. Maybe I didn't pass out this worksheet, but this is good for me to think about what else I can follow up on that I'm talking about here. The C major blues scale. But again, I'm going to call it just A minor. And that would be over C7. It's kind of a sweet, I'm going to play C13. And here's that A minor. You can think of it as A minor. Yeah, you can. Tony, jam a little bit here. I know you know all this, but. And then go to the 4, and then that's when you want to make it minor. And I'm not talking about Dorian. I will later, and I'll talk about the blues hack and stuff, but I'm just talking about pentatonic. This is just kind of a concept here that you can navigate the blues and be switching your different pentatonics. So what I'm talking about here is we have C major penta, and then for the 1 chord, and then for the 4 chord, C minor pentatonic. Okay, C minor, and that means C minor blues. And then on the 5 chord, I'm still just, for the blues, I usually kind of stick to the minor. And then 4 minor. And then I'm back to 1, sweeter. And now it's a major pentatonic. I really like that navigating through that. And this is gonna carry through into the jazz standards, because later on I'll say, yeah, if you want it sweet, you do the major penta. If you want it a little bit sassy, you know, it's bluesy, make it more minor. And I'm just staying off the root of C. That's to me what's important. That's kind of my number one go-to strategy, is I kind of think about, it's more of a feeling. Do I want it sweet and a little bit more polite. You know, that's the major penta. Do I want it bluesy, a little maybe raunchy, a little dirty? Then I'm gonna use the minor pentatonic off the root of C. I primarily use that. I could use it over the whole A section of any song that's 165. I'm going to demonstrate that too. But I use it often at turnarounds. I'm talking about like jazz standards or anything. So again, that's a concept that I think is very important. That's why I'm just demonstrating it on the blues, because it's a great way to practice. So you toggle major penta, minor, major, I'm hearing the 12-bar blues, minor, back to the major. Kind of sweeter, right? And then on the G7, it's coming up here. 4, sweet, the bluesy, that's the major. I'm staying completely off the root of C, this 8th fret position here. That was a demonstration on the C blues. Hopefully you guys can feel the changes go by, even just by switching, you know, within that major and minor. And I'm kind of thinking these little short phrases. And you just have to kind of target, you know what changes. That's, to me, what's important. So again, you can do that, and I do recommend it. C jam blues, 12-bar blues in C. But again, we're gonna do that over some jazz standards. That's the first and most important concept to me that I wanna share with you, because most people have already learned their pentatonic scales and or blues scale. Even if it's just one position, doesn't matter. You can make so much music from that. And that's my easy, quote, soloing strategy. Now we're gonna apply it again. I try to find some songs to where I can use these that concept and just practice my scales and sounds and get strong. And most of you, again, I'm guessing, have already experimented and or used this, and maybe that's all you do. But it's a great approach. So if you take the song Summertime, I'm in A minor. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high, E7. Daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. A minor all the way through. Do 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 do. 4 chord. Still A minor pentatonic blues. 5 chord. Still A minor pentatonic blues. That's what I'm saying. And the 1 chord A minor pentatonic. 5 chord A minor pentatonic. That's what I'm saying. You use it all the way through. It's a great song. Oh, I'm targeting. All right, see, I gotta stop myself because now I'm like, oh, I did some triad stuff because I want to hear the changes go by. But I started off by just saying A minor blues, but this is where, you know, the next step is to start to target those chord changes too, because that's fun. However, that's number 1 strategy again. I'm gonna give you a few more demonstrations. And I don't have my loop pedal set up, so you have to kind of imagine those chords going by. That's why I'm playing the chords and doing the licks. But that's kind of a fun little study too. It's just to get used to hitting chord. You know, just pin the chord and doing some licks and runs. And again, in that case, you have to know the progression pretty well. But blues scale really helps bind it, kind of glue it together, that the commonality of that blues phrase, even though the chords are changing. Okay, you can't use this, well, maybe you can, you're gonna get some outside sounds, but it doesn't always work on every song, unfortunately. Some songs, they switch keys and you're gonna sound bad if you stick with one pentatonic. That's where you do have to navigate and figure, look at the song, go song by song. So again, that was just a quick demonstration on Summertime. The next song, I really like this on, speaking of Frank Vignola, he does this on a version with Joey DeFrancesco on Fly Me to the Moon. It's a great version of it you'll find online with him on guitar. And he gets really kind of bluesy over the chord changes to Fly Me to the Moon. And if you don't know Fly Me to the Moon, I'll give you a quick demo. A minor 7. Fly me to the moon. Very sweet song. Let me play among the stars, G7, C major. Goes around the cycle of fourths. F major. Let me see what spring is like. Then it modulates to the relative minor on Jupiter and Mars. Then it goes to the 2. It's kind of a complex song, but because of the changes, but at the same time, it's all pretty much in the key. In this case, key of C. How I'm demonstrating it: 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, 2, 5, 1 to the relative minor, and with all of those diatonic, meaning in the key, movements, all you care about is, hey, what key am I in? Oh, key of C / A minor. So, and I do have my phone, I could put on the backing track here, but Fly Me to the Moon. And I'm recording this so you guys can refer to this later to review, because I'm probably gonna go fast, but I'm keeping an eye on the comments. Feel free to comment if you want, and I'll address that when I take my coffee sip. So I'm gonna put up Fly Me to the Moon, iReal Pro. I'm just doing a quick demo, and I want you guys to jam along. If you don't have that A minor pentatonic scale, that's the first thing I'm gonna recommend that you learn. But you wanna, again, learn a few different positions so you feel like you can have some freedom. But trust me, one position, I hate it when people say, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I want people to feel like, and Bob, you know this, you gotta sing what you play. You have to connect to the music, and it can be super simple. So here it is. Let's go to, I'm gonna put on a swing here, medium swing. This is Fly Me to the Moon. And if you want any of my backing tracks, let me know too. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll send some of these. These are all pretty easy to grab on iReal Pro. I hope you all use iReal Pro. I'm just gonna put it on play, but you can look at the changes right now if you want to see the basic changes. If you've never played Fly Me to the Moon, it's in the key of C. Hopefully nobody's texting me right now. A minor, D minor, G7, C, F. It's all diatonic, except for the few little modulations, and I'll say this 2, 5, 1 to the relative minor. And so this method, this is now the kind of, how do I use this blues? When can I use the pentatonic blues? You can pretty much use it when the chord progression is diatonic to the key. And it can have a really temporary modulation, like a 5 chord of the 4, 5 of the 6, 5 of the 3. It's still fine. However, if it really does like modulate to that new section or that new area, then you probably want to switch at that time. If I had to use a good song to talk about, because it really does switch in the B section, and then I'd want to switch with it. But Fly Me to the Moon, I'm just going to push play, and I'm going to run, and I hope you can jam along with me. Maybe just turn down your volume a little bit so you can hear me and the backing track a little bit. Now I'm just going to, I stated the melodies just so you could hear it. I'm going to turn up the piano a little bit so you can hear the piano. There it is. A minor. gonna go to C major position. One string. Sing what you play. Space. Repeat. Repeat again. Now I'm in a new position. One string. Down the scale. Now I'm gonna noodle around a little bit more, play some faster licks or something. But I could do that for hours and have a lot of fun. I do that for hours. I often say with my band, they were like, geez, is he ever gonna stop? But usually on the outro or something, just kind of really get bluesy. That's a good time. I like to do it. I mean, there I stayed exclusively to that pentatonic scale. I didn't do one note that was not in the A minor / blues. So remember, when I say pentatonic, minor penta, I'm often throwing in the flat 5 as well. And you're gonna be pretty safe to do that. But again, I wanna spend ample time on this because this is that instant gratification, and I know I love this, and this is a big part of that soulful jazz sound. We all love George Benson, Grant Green, Wes Montgomery. Wes was maybe the one who didn't do it as much, but Grant Green, and just, man, that soulful jazz flavor. So that's that feel-good vibes. It's just thinking that minor pentatonic / blues. And again, I was just kind of creeping up slowly up the fretboard with those different positions. And sometimes I would just play on one string. And again, sing what you play, connect to it, let it breathe. I can't stress that enough. That will help get you closer to what you're hearing and feeling versus just looking at tabs. I don't want you to read tabs off the paper unless you need to learn it at first, but get away from that. You're gonna have a lot more fun. Repeat a lot. Little variations. Space. Here comes the top of the song, by the way. Check out this. One note. Triplets. Sometimes I exaggerate. I like repetition. Now I'm doing the melody. Triplets, patterns. Octaves. Again, so much fun just doing the octaves. Kind of add that Wes Montgomery vibe, but it also kind of fattens it up and makes your soloing sound different. So this is another topic, is how do I pace myself when soloing? And this is often a great approach. Start off really bluesy and simple and sparse for one chorus, especially if you're jamming with others and or a band. And then the next, assuming you have a couple choruses to take, and then the next chorus, depending again how Wes Montgomery had a formula, by the way, you hear this in a lot of his solos. He'll just start off with just single notes, keeping it sparse, and then he'll kick into the octaves, and then he goes full-blown chords for his soloing, and that's often the Wes Montgomery's formula. But again, keep it simple. Sing what you play. That's to me the most important thing. We could do this, and I'll just do it for a couple more progressions here, just for demonstration. And I do, even though I said we're not going to learn melodies, and we're not, but you have all that available to you if you want to, use my sound slice practice videos to learn the melody and sit there. I do recommend it. So that's, and now I'm loading up a song. I did a recent, and a lot of these I've been doing live streams on. This is a classic. Hopefully y'all are Pat Martino fans. He's the one who really associated with this song, Sunny. A minor. The melody is pentatonic. Little basso feel here. Doesn't matter what chord you're on. But here are the chords going by if you want to watch it. A minor. The whole way through. Look at all those fancy chords. All you need to think about is A minor. Right there. Even over that modulation, even over that 2-5-1 to F major, A minor still works. 2-5-1. That was F major, but A minor. Still A minor penta works. Be careful about the mode that you choose, and we'll talk about that next, because that's a different approach. For Sunny, I'll say, oh, let's try the modal approach. And then now you got to be more careful and selective about adding in those other two notes to make it modal. However, again, I'm just showing you the easiest of the easy strategies that I love to use, and that's just thinking pentatonics. Very important concept. However, it's a concept that can be applied to really complex songs, such as Giant Steps, one of the most complex songs, or fusion songs, where there's a lot of key changes. Here's another song, and again, you can make notes of this. It's like, oh, I'm gonna practice these just to make it fun and interesting. Here's another song I really love, and I demonstrated this too in the recent video. Let's see. And type in the chat comments if you guys are, now you're like, I'm hoping you're jazzed about that pentatonic scale. And you're getting like, oh yeah, I mean, again, to me, it's just so much fun. And I just want to more so give you some demonstrations again. I don't know what tempo I'm at here for this. This is Stevie Wonder's Isn't She Lovely? And some of you may know that I like to play it in A minor, C major. And again, it's got some changes. It's got some 2-5s. But the thing is, if you think about an A minor 7 chord, I'm going to talk theory for you. I'm trying not to talk too much theory. It's not it, but it's important. A minor 7, if you're just to see it on a chart, A minor 7, we don't know if it's the 2 chord, if it's the Dorian mode of G, 2 of G. We don't know if that A minor 7 is the 3 chord of F. Okay, that's why Sunny had that 2-5-1 in F. A minor still works, A minor 7. A minor 7 is like the pentatonic, see? It could be also the 6 in the key of C, so it can have 3 different functions. And then it could be a 2-5, just an A harmonic minor itself. So when you see this progression here, you probably know that, oh, it's got some chords that are not just in the key of C, A minor, right? And that's true. The first part's kind of a 2-5 in G, A minor D7. That's a 2-5 in G. And then it goes 2-5 to C. It goes D minor, G7, C. And then the B section, if you look at it, it goes F major, da 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 da, and then E7. Again, you might say E7, you're thinking A minor. Yeah, that goes back to the blues. That's a 5 chord. You play E7 or sharp 9. So again, sometimes it's just a function of it. Quick demonstration. Jam with me on this progression here. And again, I'm just gonna, and it's good that I'm recording this so I can make notes here of follow-ups for you. But check it out. swing. I love this tempo. Just a melody first. Pentatonics. Triplets for practice. Breathe. Take a motif. Melody. Pentatonic. Hammer-ons. Triplets. One note, one finger. Octaves. There I added one note. I added an F note because I love that F note too, that half step. So I kind of throw in those little licks, this. Those are, again, kind of more blues licks there. It's almost coming from the C minor blues, almost. So this is where I'm gonna toggle back, I don't know if that's the correct word, but toggle back, go back to that opening statement on the blues. If you want that, I hate to say the word raunchy, but if you want that really down-home blues quality to your solo, you play the minor, it's like rock and roll, you play the minor pentatonic on the major key. I didn't demonstrate that with Fly Me to the Moon, but that's okay, I'll do it on Isn't She Lovely? So check it out. The sweeter sound, again, is A minor, right? We're saying A minor, but don't forget that's C major penta. And then, when you want to get it really rock and roll bluesy, you play C minor, and that has that F note. So basically, this is a good little hack here. You just take your lick in A minor, slide your hand up 3 frets, and do the same thing. I love it. It's too good of tricks here. So check it out. I'm gonna demonstrate. You'll see my hand shift when I do this. A minor. Right here. I'll do it again. But it's sometimes I say it for the turnaround. Then back. So think about that again. That the feeling of the minor versus that sweeter major, or however you want, major versus minor is really kind of what we're doing. The major sweeter sounding inside, and then you play C minor to get that bluesy down home feel. So again, Summertime, Isn't She Lovely? Isn't She Lovely and Sunny are both 16 bar songs, which is nice. This is probably not taught and not, but what I'm going to demonstrate here, probably like, no, you're not supposed to do that. But it's kind of something that I think is so obvious, and that's a minor swing by Django Reinhardt. To take that progression, it's just 3 chords, like a minor blues, right? It's a 16 bar progression. And by the way, I usually put TK by the title. It's just my band knows that it's I tweak with the chords often, from whoever inputs it originally. But this is minor swing. We all know Django Reinhardt's classic minor swing. This is another great way to practice. I'm just looping the that's a slow bluesy version of minor swing. To me it's all about just right now just demonstrating chords and soloing. Where are we at? Just show you really quick. 5 and turn around. Now I'm just gonna get bluesy. I have a feeling that's something, again, that, you know, how Martino or Kenny Burrell, those great guitar players, would play minor swing as a swing song versus, you know, the traditional La Pompe gypsy jazz and being strict to what Django would do. That being said, I did pass out my Gypsy Jazz Bootcamp Day 1 for minor swing, because that's kind of the next topic, is targeting chords. So, and that takes more thinking, because when you're targeting and playing to the chord, then you have to actually know what chord you're on. This, you can just put the backing track on and not think and just have fun playing these feel-good blues, you know, licks. But then, to me, the next step is, okay, now switch at the right time, you know, etc. So feel free to type in the comments. Seems like I'm talking a lot today. I'm happy to answer any questions, or any, again, if you might say, oh, well, what about this song? And I'll have to think about it for a second. But I do have one more song demonstration. Again, it's almost like for the full song, you can do this. And it might be the most popular jazz song that I use for teaching. Drum roll, please. Tony mentioned it earlier. You got it. The falling leaves drift by my window. The autumn leaves of red and gold. Beautiful melody. And again, I don't want to take away from Bart Howard, the composer of Fly Me to the Moon, or Joseph Cosma, the composer of Autumn Leaves, where they really crafted this so sweet. The thirds, targeting those thirds, and that's another concept again too. But that's a lot of thinking, right? So again, for Autumn Leaves, well, I gotta show you this first. This is in the key, it says it on the bottom. Oh, wait, no it doesn't. Now it does. E minor, and many of you know this from working with me or watching my videos. Autumn Leaves, 2-5-1-4. I'll say it again, I'll say it slower. Autumn Leaves is in E minor or G major, however you want to think of it, but it ends on a minor chord, sad. So you'd say E minor. But that's relative to G major. This is where you're going to say, oh, I got to pull out that other sheet. Yeah, I want you to learn that pentatonic scale in both A minor and E minor really well. I love both of those keys for performing, and I mean, that's like the common keys for guitar players, especially if you play classic rock stuff too. But G major, this. I'm doing this little sliding scale, and again, I would recommend that you check that out. This. Then I'm connecting it to that position. So the sliding scale is this. I'm on G, by the way. Hopefully you can see my open string here. And then this. That's G major penta. And then I go to this G. I call this the diagonal method, by the way. And then sliding. it's the same fingering throughout. You don't have to really think about it. So when I put on Autumn Leaves backing track for this key of E minor, you're gonna see me do that quite a bit. The whole song, okay, I'm gonna show you the progression again. It's 2, 5, 1, 4. Then it modulates to the A minor key, 2, 5, 1. So it has a B7. That's not in the key of G. There's some chords not in the key of G. And then it does this little descending thing later. Tritone, 2, 5, 2, 5. That's okay. Again, I'm hoping to give you that license to say, oh, Tracy says I could just play pentatonic the whole way through. I'm gonna do it. So you don't feel bad about, hey, what about this chord? You don't wanna get too caught up in those small details. Trust me, it's gonna sound good. Here we go. I'm getting slowly into the blues. E minor. Here's a melody. Since you went away, the days grow long blues. You know here, I'm too sorry, but I miss the sliding scale. E minor. E minor. That was triplet study number 3 there. One string. Repetition. This is G major. Next position. Now I'm being a little bit more methodical. Meaning I have to think a little bit. But you can say, okay, you can work all your positions if you're practicing. Octaves. Really lean on that blue note. Again, I'm hoping that you guys are trying this out and say, oh, I like that method. Hey, I don't have to think about 2, 5, 1, 4. We're gonna talk about that too, our page. We're gonna do the outlining. This is still, to me, just demonstrating the #1 approach, pentatonic / blues, and even on a song like Autumn Leaves. And then again, the trick of it is to do the same approach where the songs actually modulate, and then you can still kind of navigate through the changes and or the key centers and get bluesy. I was just doing this yesterday when I played Night and Day. I was playing some blues like licks and lines, but I knew that it switches keys from C major to E flat major in the B section, or E flat major to C major. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna play A minor, then I went to C minor. So again, you're gonna find, and I'm not gonna talk about that right now, but again, that's what you would do when you encounter songs that kind of force you to switch keys. And again, that's usually when the progression really does modulate, shift, because it tonicizes a different chord, meaning like a 5-1, 2-5-1 in a new region. And I do see some comments here. Let's check it out.